The legacy of the lonely wanderer. It was a cool autumn night when Helena decided to explore the old trail behind her village. The moon cast a silvery light on the weathered stones of the path, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves. Helena was curious about the secrets the trail held. Rumor had it that it led to an old, long-abandoned mansion that had once belonged to an eccentric scholar. With a slight tingle of excitement in her stomach, Helena set off. She had a flashlight and a backpack with provisions, as she didn't know how long her exploration would take. The path was narrow and flanked by tall trees, their branches reaching out like gnarled fingers into the darkness. After about an hour of walking, Helena reached a clearing. In the middle stood an old, dilapidated house that looked almost ghostly in the darkness. It was the scholar's mansion. The windows were broken, and the door hung crookedly on its hinges. Despite this, Helena felt an urge to explore the inside of the house. She carefully pushed open the creaking door and stepped inside. A musty smell filled her nose, and the floor creaked under her feet. With her flashlight, she illuminated the room and discovered bookshelves that reached to the ceiling, filled with old, dusty tomes. A large desk stood in the middle of the room, covered in papers and notes. Curious, Helena stepped closer and examined the documents. They were the scholar's records, who had apparently been working on a great discovery. Helena could hardly believe what she read. The scholar had found clues to a hidden chamber that contained an invaluable treasure. But no one knew where this chamber was located. Suddenly, Helena heard a noise. She turned around and saw a shadow at the end of the room. With her heart pounding, she walked towards it and discovered a hidden door behind one of the bookshelves. Carefully, she opened the door and found a narrow staircase leading into the darkness. With clammy hands and shaky knees, Helena descended the stairs. At the bottom, she found herself in a small room dimly lit by an old oil lamp. In the middle of the room stood a chest made of solid wood, adorned with intricate carvings. Helena opened the chest and could hardly believe her eyes. It was full of old maps, jewelry, and gold coins. But the most valuable item was an old diary that contained the story of the scholar and his quest for the knowledge of the ancient world. Suddenly, she heard another noise. An old man stepped out of the shadows and smiled at her. It was the scholar, or rather, his spirit. He explained to Helena that he had been waiting for someone to continue his work. Helena promised to preserve his legacy and share his knowledge with the world. As Helena finally left the mansion, she felt a deep connection to the scholar and his work. She knew that her life would take a new direction from that moment on. The legacy of the lonely wanderer was now in her hands, and she was determined to honor it and pass it on. Helena returned to the village, but initially kept her discovery a secret. She spent many nights studying the scholar's diary and continuing his research. Over time, she found out that the maps in the chest led to other hidden locations that also contained invaluable secrets of the ancient world. She decided to form a group of trusted friends to explore these places together. They traveled through distant lands, discovering forgotten temples, ancient libraries, and crumbling cities, all containing clues to the knowledge and treasures of the past. Helena and her friends became modern explorers, whose adventures became famous around the world. They found not only material riches but also insights that enriched humanity's understanding of its history and culture. Despite their discoveries, Helena always remained humble and remembered the lonely scholar who had changed her life. She established a small museum in her village, where the most important finds and insights were displayed. It became a place of learning and inspiration for future generations. One evening, many years later, as Helena sat on the veranda of her house watching the sunset, she felt a gentle breeze and heard the whisper of the wind. She knew that the spirit of the scholar was with her and smiled. She had not only preserved his legacy but had also continued it, changing the world in the process. And so ended the story of Helena, the explorer who had followed the call of the lonely wanderer and, in doing so, found not only treasures but also wisdom and peace.